Well, in Seinfeld, we did a lot of stuff. We shot outside a lot. We shot every inch of that studio. I'll talk about New York Street in a minute. But we did a show called The Parking Space, which is before we had built the New York Street, we had three little buildings. That was the back lot set, really, basically. And I had put backings up on one side, and we actually put an audience outside. We built and did the whole show outside. And it was one of those shows that ran a long time, so it went from daytime to nighttime. It was kind of interesting. We did another show, bleachers at Yankee Stadium, where we set bleachers outside to tie into Yankee Stadium. Another interesting set for Seinfeld was the U.S. Open tennis match. Wayne Kenning, our DP, was amazing. We actually have clips of the Open that we matched. So I built half a tennis court, and that's when Kramer was the ball boy. Matched perfectly with the stock footage. It was absolutely amazing. And we would do a lot of stuff. I would coordinate a lot of a film crew in New York about stuff that we needed to tie into a particular show, like the particular set or whatever. Kramer walking down the street or a drive-by that we would pick up. A lot of people were totally convinced that the show was done in New York. And after the 1994 earthquake, Jerry and Larry wanted to move the stage to Paramount because they had a great New York street there. And the studio, Michael Klossman, who was the president of the studio, hired me to design a New York street to keep Seinfeld at CBS. And that street cost about $900,000. They had a lot of damage to the studio during the earthquake. Our particular stage, at that point, we started on stage 19, and that got too small for us, and then we moved to stage 9, which was a bigger stage, and that's where we were when the earthquake hit. The sets were fine because everything was loose and moved around. The two ends of the stage walls popped off, so they had to prop those up. So it took a little bit of a time to get the studio back into working condition. The key for the studio was that I guess they had insurance money, so they actually redid the entire studio, the gas lines, the water lines, the whole thing. They gave them money to invest in the New York street, and we designed that, made a great model of that. Harry Otto again was working on that. Martha Johnson, I think, was working on it too. There was a lot of great set designers working on that whole street. So I designed that. Lou Montejano came in again and helped us design on that. I think Eric Orbaum too. And there was an area in the back lot where they used for scenic storage, and it backed up against at that time was the prop department. So I used the walls of the prop department. I went in 10 feet and made interiors, and then converted the other side of the street it was very narrow. The sidewalks were very narrow. It was the only kind of telltale thing that it was a set. But I gave it as much space as I possibly could for two-way traffic and parked cars on either side. So we designed that. Chuck Stewart was the coordinator on that. So we designed and we built, and I supervised construction on that for the studio. And then Seinfeld had first dibs on that set. So whenever we wanted it, we had it available to us. I mean, Caroline and the City used it. Every other show in the world used it, and it's still being in use today. So that kept Seinfeld on the lot.